Hello everyone, this is Dominic Hopka. I'll be presenting my information on the Well Child Project for Family Nursing Concepts Lab 324 for the fall of 2020. Just a little background on the information of the Well Child Project. I have a 2-year-old boy who eats a lot of fast food items throughout his week because his family finds it the easiest way to provide food, not really knowing that it's not giving him the greatest nutritional value. And then I just wanted to provide this pamphlet for the family just to stress the importance of nutrition in a 2-year-old, because they aren't really necessarily understanding the fact and the importance of having adequate nutrition that it can have on their entire lives. Alright, I'm going to get on to the second page here. On the left side, I have a little just important paragraph just discussing why nutrition is important and what are the implications to nutrition at this point in time. I go on stating that during the toddler years, they are developing their understanding of the world. They are becoming autonomous. They are understanding what they like to eat. What do they find tasty? And then during this time, they're also developing the habits that can last a lifetime with them about nutrition. So if just emphasizing the importance that nutrition really plays on the overall health of someone, especially in these toddler years. I also included a little factoid. It says, did you know that 91% of children eat fast food at least once a week? That's primarily in the United States because we are so consumed by the fast food culture. But that is an interesting fact, and it is something that we should emphasize, that fast food does not always mean it's providing the nutrition that one requires on a daily basis. I go on to state, it says, what do I feed my child? A lot of parents have no idea. If they're a first-time parent, they don't know what they should be feeding their child or different milestones their child should be reaching as far as nutrition or eating or talking or developmentally. They might say, oh, he's grown so much, but he's actually gained a lot of weight and not exactly grown in height. That is an important thing that we should emphasize for parents, is just educating them on those milestones and what we should be feeding them and those food categories. So I went on to list those food categories such as grains, proteins, vegetables, dairy, fruit, and oils. These are the large food groups that we should be providing to everyone, not just toddlers, and just creating a balance of these. And this refers to the MyPlate, and I go on stating the MyPlate guidelines for a toddler specifically, not for the general population. So for the toddler, he should be consuming about 3 ounces of grains and a day, 1 cup of vegetables, 1 cup of fruits, 2 cups of dairy, 2 ounces of proteins, and 3 teaspoons of oils. It's just important that they understand that this is what they should be feeding them, and they can feed them a little more, but this is the baseline of what they should be feeding him depending on his activity levels. I just added, when choosing dairy, to go low fat. The higher fat dairy products provide more empty calories. These are non-nutritional calories, just added fat to the child's diet that doesn't really serve them a purpose, but adds more of the adipose tissue to them and may encourage or entice obesity or becoming overweight. And then I also note that they could possibly need an increase in protein intake depending on the physical activity they're involved in. If this child becomes more involved in running around the house, or if the parents take them to the park more often, the child might need more protein just to replenish those stores of energy, or provide them the amount of energy they need to participate in these activities. I also added on there to go to the choosemyplate.gov to learn more about the healthy eating habits. There's only so much information a pamphlet can provide about the health and nutrition that toddlers and children should be receiving. It also can give them an opportunity to see what they should be feeding their child as he ages. So when he becomes 8 years old, or he's just going to school, how much he should be consuming, especially when it comes to those teenage years or adolescent years. Kids around that time will fluctuate with how much they're eating. They might eat a lot because they're developmentally changing a lot, or they might eat less. So just having the choosemyplate.gov website available for them to reference will be a preventative measure for them as they move forward and give them more education on nutritional habits. That is a side tangent. I'm going back into the pamphlet. It states that sample food items. Here are a list of sample food items that they could pick up at the grocery store, or if they're at home and they want to make sure their child's getting the right amount of foods and the balanced food portions. So for grains, like 1 slice of bread is 1 ounce of the 3 ounces that child can have. So hypothetically, the child could have a tortilla, a slice of bread, and a half cup of cooked pasta all throughout the day just to meet that 3 ounces of grains required in his diet. The vegetables are pretty straightforward. 1 cup of each one of these vegetables: broccoli, carrots, noting that the carrots should be steamed or cooked so they're not a hard object that they could aspirate on. Pumpkin, tomato juice, peas, corn, potatoes, onions, and mushrooms. These are all easy to put into a cup and measure out that the kid should be having, the kid or child should be having throughout the day. Fruits, the child could have 1 or 2 small bananas, and then another small orange. Or if they are not necessarily enjoying those kinds of fruits, they could have a cup of applesauce if they're picky towards skins on fruits. Just noting that those are options. Or like the peeled options, like the McDonald's apple wedges. That is an option. I don't recommend necessarily McDonald's, just the fact that there are peeled apple wedges that they could consume as a fruit option. I go on for the next portion is the dairy, noting that 2 cups of cottage cheese equals 1 cup of dairy, or 1.5 cups of ice cream. So if they're having a low-fat ice cream for dessert, it could count towards 1 cup of their daily dairy intake. And I want to say dairy is important because of that calcium in the dairy products. Calcium is important for the child to develop the bone strength and structure as they're growing. And then to go on to address the proteins, like the child could have 1 egg and 1/3 of a chicken breast throughout the day. Or depending on their activity, they could increase it, and they could have 2 eggs and 1 chicken breast, or 1/3 of a chicken breast. I then add the oils. Vegetable oil is a big one that I've seen used for cooking or like scrambling eggs. Mayonnaise goes on sandwiches a lot, so that's a really good one to have in there. And so is avocado. So you could have a combination of mayonnaise and avocado on a sandwich for that toddler. I go on to the last portion, and it's other important facts I wanted to include for this family. They didn't appear to know a whole lot about what they should be feeding their child, or if they're feeding their child the right things, or just other health important facts related to nutrition. I added, make sure your toddler's food is cut up into bite-sized pieces. I had mentioned aspiration earlier, or choking on those pieces of food. This can be a very dangerous part in what the child is consuming. It could even potentially be deadly if you were to walk out of the room and then you come back too late and your child has already choked on that piece of food. I added making a routine of meals and snacks. Humans by nature are routines. They have developed their own set routines. So having a routine for their child might promote their eating habits and sleeping habits and their overall health of that child. I also noted before that toddlers are very picky and can be very picky. Just having this understanding that they might like only one type of food, or they might be more inclined to choose one type of food over another. Maybe providing them a specific set of food and not giving them the option of another food could be a good option if they are very picky, and if you give them the option, they'll choose the less healthy of the items. And then I added avoid snacks or desserts high in sugar or fats. This is anyone, but really it's important at this point um, to avoid those because they can develop that sweet tooth or that pickiness towards like the ice creams and other sugary snacks like candy bars. Lastly, I added potential choking hazards. And these can be popcorn, nuts, grapes, hot dogs, peanut butter, tough meats, and dried beans. These are just examples of potential choking hazards that can pose risks to the overall health and well-being of that child. That is all I really have for this pamphlet. I like to thank you all for watching my screen recording of my pamphlet, and would like to thank you just for taking the time to go through this with me.